just going to go over a couple of problematic ones, and then I'm going to release us, and what I'd like you to do is take at least one of your units and unpack the content and skills for that unit so that you have one solid example before the end of the day. Which, if you think about it now, looking at the group, could I have maybe one person working on essential questions? I could have one person or a team working on the unpacking. Does that make sense? We could divide and conquer and get a lot done today. I've even had some tables where they just divide the units and everyone unpacks one, then they all compare notes, and then they go huzzah at the end. You with me on this? So we have a lot of options about how we want to go about this. But before we do that, I just want to go through some problem stuff. Just, you know, tales of the adventure. Here we go. Let's go into the writing. Well, let's see what I've got. I've got this informative explanatory text. I've got a topic, which, as you all know, that's a lesson plan all by itself, right? Mm-hmm. And then we have these ideas and information. I don't need the word clearly. I can split this. Oh, now we have, it says introduce a topic clearly. I don't have to say a topic again, but I've got this introduce. I'm going to put introduction. They have to learn what an introduction is. That's what that's really getting at. Provide a general observation and focus. Technically, I could keep general observation. No one's going to know what focus is all by itself, so I'm going to keep it and. And group O, we've got related information. Logically. What are we talking about there? We're talking about logic, reasoning. Include formatting. Here we go. So formatting, every EG and every IE stays in content. Every EG and every IE stays in content. Leave it there. Your skills get over complicated as it is, so leave them there. So in this case, it's formatting, but it's heading, so I'm going to keep it. Illustrations. It's multimedia when useful in aiding comprehension. Interesting, I can either keep that as a phrase, because that's actually pretty precise. That's just not multimedia to be multimedia. It's multimedia when it aids in comprehension. I think I'm going to keep it. I know some of you are getting annoyed at the commas. I'm fixing it, I promise. Okay? Now they have to develop the topic. I could write development of topic if I want. I've got these facts, definitions, concrete details, quotations, because it's or other information and examples related to the topic. I'm going to let that go. And watch this. Development of the topic. First, watch this. I'm going to bullet the whole thing underneath in the informative explanatory. Everyone with me on that? But when I have this, because all of these were underneath development of a topic, I'm just going to indent it. Just like that. All right, same thing with formatting. Because formatting included these pieces, I'm just going to indent it. And this is going to tell my reader very quickly, when you're going in for the development of a topic, these are the details you need to go into for your lesson plans. These are what you have to get across. That's all it means. If I need to add more details, I will. Some people might say, well, what do you mean by quotations? Is that in format or not at this grade level? We can add parentheticals for the faculty to get the details of what we mean when we start making it a grade level map. But at this point, because it's a year-long context, I'm just staying true to what the standard says. I don't start adding all the other things I do. Are we okay with that? This is my bare minimum, the granular for diagnosis and prescription that I need. I know the commas are still bothering some of you. I'm on it. All right. So now we have to link ideas within and across. Oh, we need categories. We've got these categories. I already had ideas, remember? So I've got these categories of information. All right. And so I can use words, phrases, clauses, and they give me an EG, so I keep it. And now what am I going to do with those bullets? That's right. You want this to be something teachers easily can look at and engage with. Don't overwrite it. Get all the extra words out. Your audience is a bunch of educators. They know what we're talking about. Or at least make sure you write it so that they do. Don't leave in things that are confusing. All right. Use precise language. All right, so I've got some precise language. Oh, and I've got some domain-specific vocabulary. That's a real thing. There we go. Oh, and I need a conclusion. Everyone see that?
Yep.
So I'm going to hit enter, and I'm just going to write conclusion. Yeah, and I've got all of that. There we go. That's what I need to teach the children to get them to be successful. What I'd like to do is, with your permission, I'd like to head over to the skills. B1, write an informative explanatory text. B2, examine a topic. B3, convey ideas clearly. I'm going to leave ideas and information. You want me to split those or not? If it's an and. Could children convey ideas but not information? Could children convey information but not ideas?
Yes.
If the answer to that is yes, like when I say they must ask and answer questions. Could a child ask a question but not be able to answer it? So when it's going to happen in a different spot, you separate it. But if it's something where it's compare and contrast ideas, if your evidence is going to happen at the exact same time, and it would be the kind of thing where they are connected, you don't need to separate it. All right? So in this story, if you say, hey, that's going to happen separately, it's just as easy for me to say B4, convey information clearly. Convey ideas clearly. I'm keeping my qualifier. I want to be precise here. Because at 5th grade, it's not enough that they just convey the ideas. That's what it's going to look like on my kindergarten map. Here, they have to convey it clearly. So we have to talk about that. Next, they have to introduce a topic clearly. They have to provide a general observation and focus. They also have to, B7, group related information logically. They have to, B8, include formatting, illustrations, and multimedia when useful to aid in comprehension. Now, I already have that written over in content, don't I? So could I just say include formatting when useful to aiding in comprehension? Isn't that the skill? But what happens when a teacher says, well, wait a minute, what are the details of their ability to include formatting when useful? I come over here to formatting, and I've got the details. Content and skills are used together. You want to have information and content to be able to simplify your skills. Don't relist all the content over in the skill column. How are we doing? Does that make sense?
Well, I wanted to ask you, we were just talking. At one of the presentations, we talked about using the term independently.
Yep.
And this would not be used here. We're just talking. This is the teaching piece. This is what the skills we're going to teach the children. Where does that independent, that would be in the application when the child does this writing?
Right.
Is that right or no?
So Heidi Hayes Jacobs would say every standard needs to have that qualifier independently.
Okay, right.
Or near
Yes,
independently.
yes, yeah.
But I'm not going to write independently after
Here.
every single one of these
No,
skills.
okay, all right.
Or near independently. I'm also not gonna write student will be able to. We're not gonna put swabats in here, okay?
Yep,
So the idea here is that's assumed.
all right,
And what's gonna happen is when I get to my assessment,
gotcha, okay.
let's look at this last one. Develop the topic with facts, definitions, concrete details, quotations, or other information and examples related to the topic. Someone help me.
Develop,
What's the real skill?
develop the topic.
There it is. Because all of that said or. The child could pick any of those items. But where do I as the teacher know I could go look to see what they need to do to develop the topic? How are we doing? Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'd like to look at I'm gonna just finish this up. B10, link ideas within and across categories of information. Watch this. B11, using words, phrases, and clauses, e.g. in contrast and especially. So if I just did the practice of going in front of each verb, this is what I would start to end up with. Use precise language and domain-specific vocabulary to inform about or explain the topic. The real skill there is the ability to inform about, but then wait, I have B14. What's going on here? I've got to explain the topic. What in here is actually the skill I'm going after? And what is a qualifier for how we're going about it? This entire section, actually I'm just going to provide the concluding statement right at the end here, so you're going to look at the whole thing. Some of these are not really skills. Some of them could either be tagged onto the end of a different one or deleted altogether. So looking at this, some of them are just supersets. So what's one I can delete right off the bat? Who has one? I'd like you to just either work with your colleague or nominate. What of these can I either edit or revise to make observable and measurable? Because I've got a couple. Use precise language and domain-specific vocabulary.
Why?
What am I doing here? Is it revised for? Right, vocabulary? That'd be interesting to know when the kids do just, they've got the thing and you're like, okay, what's a word we could use other than the thing? What's a word that we learned, right, in this? And then they have to go back into the text and pull out the proper vocabulary. That's revising for. All right? What is going on here? Which ones could we revise? I just want you to turn to your colleague for a minute, maybe hone in on one or two, and then we're going to pull it out and do it.